Hi, this is Dr. Christina Garappo with another in our PTSD series. Today we're going to talk about how to recognize PTSD, its signs and symptoms. Now, signs and symptoms come in three categories: memory and the way that you deal with memory, mood and mood changes, and behavioral changes. First, we'll talk about memory. Memory can come in the form of just recalling the event with all of the distress and discomfort that comes with it. But it can come in another more specialized form called a flashback. And a flashback is when you experience the memory as if it is occurring right now, instead of an event that happened in your past, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago. You may also experience the memory in the form of nightmares, or with a trigger, where if you have the color red was something that was profound in your memory and you see the color red, suddenly it will bring it back. A final way that you can experience it is in the form of body memory. A body memory is when you have physical sensations that are associated with the event and your body constantly throws that off, even if there's no physiological reason for your body to do that. Now, in terms of mood and mood changes, there are two different ways that you may experience this, two major categories. You may have avoidance type behaviors, or you may have negative behaviors. And it's very possible that you'll flip-flop between these two. It's very rare for someone to just do one single track when it comes to this. So in negative moods, the overwhelming majority of the feeling is anxiety. Anxiety with irritability, with outbursts of anger, with poor concentration. You may have a high startle response where a noise might trigger you to jump where other people may just look. Chances are you'll have hypervigilance. This is really common with PTSD sufferers, where you're constantly surveying your environment, looking for the threat because you feel like the threat is always there. And this is particularly common for anyone that has military or law enforcement training. And there are sleep issues that come with all of these problems. Now, with this keyed up place, you will often engage in reckless, harmful, or addictive type behaviors. You may do things like get involved in extreme sports, or self-harm like cutting or hair pulling. Addictive behaviors like excessive intake of food, alcohol, drugs, whether they're prescription or recreational. The high use and sometimes reckless use of sex and or pornography, spending, gambling. These are things that are quite common. When a person gets overstimulated, eventually their adrenals will shut down and they'll become exhausted. So you may experience the flip side of this, which instead of being always keyed up, you may experience fatigue or extreme exhaustion where it's difficult for you to get out of bed. You may avoid social or family interactions, partly so that you don't take out your mood on other people, but partly because sometimes the stimulus is just more than you feel like you can handle. You may have distorted ideas about the event, a sense of blame, whether you're blaming someone else or blaming yourself. There could be intense feelings of guilt, shame. It can even go so far as to just have a full disconnect. You may be depressed, but you may feel nothing at all, which is particularly distressing. You've just shut your emotions down entirely. And when that happens, it's very important to reconnect you, because you may not feel pain or distress, but you also don't feel any sort of joy or creative drive. So signs and symptoms are great. It's really important for you to be able to identify yourself. But the most important thing from this point on, once you think that you might have this going on with you, is to come in, have an appointment. Let's take a look, let's evaluate, and set up a treatment plan. Now, in our next video, we're going to be talking about what happens when you experience flashbacks, what happens when you get into hypervigilance, because there's a problem with wiring in the brain, and how we combat that without the use of drugs or intense talk therapy. So I'll see you next time.